welcome back to our third episode of Season 3 of Leap Into Business, the official podcast of our school business here at Lehman College. And don't forget, our school business here at Lehman is the only business school, public institution of higher education in the Bronx or in Westchester. Provost, happy to have you back today joining us.
Thank you, Sean.
And
it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And I'm thrilled to introduce our guest, Jane Cleland, who I have her bio here. It's about 20-odd pages long. So I'm going to try to hit the high notes for you, Jane, okay? First of all, we are happy to have Jane here on the faculty here at Lehman College, bringing some of her expertise around writing and really how to communicate ideas in the written form and in the oral form too. And on top of that, she is a author, educator, award-winning author, mind you, educator, thought leader who really bridges the worlds of writing, business, and education. And all three of those are quite different, so bridging those is quite the accomplishment. And in her writing career, Jane has written books called Mastering Structure and Plot, Mastering Plot Twist. As I mentioned earlier, she's an award-winning author, finalist for multiple other awards. Jane, it's a real privilege to have you here today with us.
What an introduction. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Excellent. And to really launch us into our conversation, how does writing connect with business, right? Because our podcast is the Leap Into Business podcast. Brandon Muggs here. But in terms of just overall, to help us sort of frame out our talk here today, how does writing and the business of writing really connect into business?
In order to succeed in business, you have to be able to express your ideas. You have to be able to express them in writing and in speaking. It is the great management consultant, Peter Drucker, who said that one step up from an entry-level job, you have to reach people through the spoken or written word. And in an earlier conversation, the provost mentioned even getting that entry-level job.
Correct. Yeah.
You have to interview. You have to write the email or cover letter. It is intrinsic in, I'm not just going to say business success. I think you have to be able to write in life in order to succeed.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Now, it's interesting, as I was reading your biography, how you have been able to combine at least these two disciplines, business and writing. But of course, you have a master's in fine arts in writing, but you also have a master's in business. So it's interesting. What given that combination, what inspired you to focus and write mysteries? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I define myself as an author and a teacher. And if you go to my website, you'll notice that it's branded with beautiful doors and elegant streetlights, because authors illuminate and teachers open doors. So it is intrinsic in everything I do. I found myself, I want to back up a minute. You asked how I ended up writing mysteries. It's mostly all I read. I read nonfiction as well, but when I'm reading fiction, I'm reading mysteries. I like to say I kill people for a living. And you know the old saying that write what you know? Well, as of last count, I've killed 21 people.
Wow. Oh my God.
I've never actually
That's an impressive count right there, Jane.
I've never actually killed anyone. So
I'm going to switch actually with you, Provost. Sit over there.
What makes you think he's safe? I have reach. I really love the puzzle element. I love thinking about what drives people to extreme emotions, and that's really what drives a mystery. And also the other thing about mysteries is the way I write them. You start with something sweet and decent. All hell breaks loose, chaos ensues, order is restored, and you end with something sweet and decent. So there's symmetry, there's hope. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Right. And you, of course, are a professor here in our English department at Lehman College and just published this book, titled "Beat the Bots," and it's a big part of what we're going to be talking about. So, congratulations! Just came
Thank
out last month, correct?
That's
in
right,
August
yeah.
of this year, and the subtitle of the book is "A Writer's Guide to Surviving and Thriving in the Age of AI." So, we're going to be covering this a little bit. In more detail further, but I'll pass the microphone to Sean because I know he has a question that he's really anxious to ask. So go ahead.
I'm always anxious to ask questions, not so much answer them sometimes. So in terms of the publishing industry, anything content related, I know prior to our on-air conversation here, we also touched on the writing and art and AI. With all of the changes that have been going on rather in the publishing industry for short form content, fiction, nonfiction, artwork, how is AI really driving that? And then, based on your experience and your award-winning books, if you had to give some advice to aspiring writers, how would that sort of play out?
Let me start by saying AI is derivative, not generative, and I don't think that's ever going to change because when you think about it, it has been fed huge amounts of data to train it. Algorithms are designed to seek out patterns, respond to prompts, and then come up with something that is theoretically new. Mm-hmm. I don't care whether it's art or writing, it's not new. In order to I talked about the strong emotion that might lead someone to kill. It is we humans who are empathetic, who have understanding, who have sensibility. It is we humans who have discernment and judgment, and AI does not. Mm-hmm. So from a philosophical point of view, I don't think it's new. And from a copyright point of view, I'm not a lawyer. I know you are. Mm-hmm. From a copyright point of view, you have to have human creativity to get a copyright. Putting in a prompt is not enough. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to give an example of how I would say that AI can just be invaluable in the business world. When you don't need to be creative per se, and by that I mean if you are looking to come up with a new idea for a novel, no, you've got to do that yourself because by definition, anything it tells you comes from somewhere that's been done. But the example I have, and I brought it, so I'm going to read a little bit because I think it is so hysterically funny.
Okay, let's do it.
A commander in a police department has to send an email to everybody about an upgrade in IT. And the upgrade is for a software package called Phoenix. It's used by most police departments, probably in the world, but certainly in the country. And what it does is it integrates so that when you call, dispatch sets up this Phoenix report, and that integrates with whatever the police then put in, and with evidence and with reports and so on. So it's fully integrated. It has many, people don't always love it as much as they might wish they loved it. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting an update. So here's what the commander said. I need an email notification that the update was completed. However, not all of the anticipated fixes were delivered in this update. Please report any issues as they arise. Please use a humorous tone in the style of a Greek tragedy.
Okay.
Subject line. Phoenix update complete. A tale worthy of the gods. Hear ye, noble users of Phoenix. At the appointed hour of 0500 on the date, the great update was unleashed upon our servers. The ritual is complete. The system has risen anew from the ashes of its former self. Alas, like the heroes of old, the victory is bittersweet. Though some long-sought fixes were bestowed upon us, others remain trapped in the labyrinth, hidden by the gods of Phoenix. And as fate would have it, new quirks may yet emerge from the shadows, testing the patience of even the most steadfast officer. But take heart, for every new challenge is but another act in this endless drama we call software support. Should you encounter errors, glitches, or behavior so puzzling it would make even Zeus weep, report them to IT and we shall rise to smite these digital foes together. Until then, may your logins be swift, your reports uncorrupted, and your patience as enduring as Odysseus on this voyage home. Respectfully, the commander. Isn't that hysterical?
That's certainly
How
jazz
Greek,
up the
right?
afternoon.
And he's done one like an old Western, one Star Wars. What a great way to get people to read your emails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're funny.
Yeah.
Now, when I teach this, I do make an important point. This works because of a shared communal frustration. You shouldn't do something like this targeting one individual person unless you have an appropriate relationship with that person. So I would say be judicious, but that doesn't mean it's not funny and charming and hysterical.
Sure. And I think it's an interesting example of, and I'm going to read the subtitle of your book again, "A Writer's Guide to Surviving and Thriving in the Age of AI." So the surviving part, I think most of our audience probably understand. They have read and heard a lot about how AI might compete with certain jobs. But you also talk about thriving. And I wonder if you could expand on how you use AI to thrive as an author.
Yes, thank you. I use AI sometimes for grammar and punctuation. Grammar, I don't mean to sound immodest, but I'm good at grammar. And it occasionally finds something. But punctuation, I seem to like more commas than editors do. So I just, for whatever reason, I have trouble with commas. So it helps with that.
By the way, I do as well. I do think the commas sometimes give that space.
That's
between
right, a
thoughts,
pause.
Pause, and I think that's good for a writing,
Yeah.
for a reader.
Yeah, and then the editor takes them all
Exactly.
out. Yeah. So what I do with it is, I'm laughing. So I use it for that. I do not use it for anything that would require creativity. That's my job. But I do specifically ask it to flag to be verbs because you want to use active verbs, active engaging verbs. The to be verbs are is, are, was, were, be, being, been, am. Use as few of those as possible. They're just state of being verbs. They don't tell you anything. And they often, it's called the passive voice, and it often hides responsibility. So you want to be active. But the reason that I'm laughing, and this is on page 312 of the book, one of my prompts to a chatbot, I did so many in testing this, so I'm going to page 312, and what I asked it to do was how to eliminate the to-be verbs in the situation is confusing. And you notice we don't know who's responsible for the situation. The responsibility is hidden. He came back with, the situation is confusing everyone. This is completely not responsive.
Yes.
And it's hysterical.
What about adverbs? You also filter?
No, adverbs and adjectives. I actually call these UGVs, along with vague numerals. So UGVs is my term for uncited generalizations and vague terminology. Numerals, you say many. What does that mean? I mean, we have some that, with context, we really understand. A couple, two, a few, more than two, several, more than a few. Most means more than half. So it has a contextual understanding. Many is, I try to discourage everyone from using the word many in particular because it's lazy. It is saying you haven't really thought about it. Give me context. Are we talking scores, dozens, a gross? There's very specific words available in English for numbers. Adverbs and adjectives should only be used when they add information to enhance the noun. What you don't want to do is use them to add emphasis. And I prohibit the use of very.
Oh, man. I'm toast. Okay.
If you're saying something is very interesting, say it's fascinating. You're very tired, you're exhausted. There's words for this that add precision to your writing, make it more interesting, and it's one of the hallmarks of a good writer. So if I'm going to say the green door, that's a proper use of an adjective because I'm adding information to the word door. If I'm saying he's running quickly, well, quickly is an adverb. Shouldn't I just say he's charging, dashing? I mean, when you think about all the words for walk, saunter is different than stroll, which is different from amble. And let's not even go with loping.
Yeah.
So I'm going to piggyback on that, Jane, because AI does tend to have certain things that it likes to use for certain prompts, be it the to be verbs, be it certain adjectives, certain phrases in the coding world that uses the em dash. So in terms of the business applications for our students and any other entrepreneurs tuning in terms of if I'm putting in for a grant, for a job application, doing a cover letter, trying to get a promotion, a raise, is there a definitive benefit to using AI to help you draft out a template and then adding in your own voice to avoid having that lazy AI passive voice, which I think is more and more common out there as, to be honest, more and more people, students, entrepreneurs, business owners are using AI for more and more content.
I actually researched this for my professional writing class because I have a series of assignments where they have to apply for a job, review everybody else's applications based on a checklist, a peer review checklist, and then reflect on the experience. And what I found is that 82% of human resource professionals who review job applications are reporting that based on the resumes and the cover letters they're seeing, people are using AI and they're seeing exactly the same wording. So they're getting kicked out of the sort. It's all the first sort is done electronically
Sure.
based on keywords. And so you put keywords into AI and say, I need to make sure these words are in my application. Well, everybody else is doing the same thing. And so you're not helping yourself, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah. I've noticed, I don't know if you have as well, I imagine you have, that certain AI outputs, I'm going to use a visual one and a written one. Visually, when you use DALL-E to create an image, there's something about the output that already tells us humans, hey, that was produced by DALL-E. There's something kind of almost a visual signature of
Sure,
the AI.
the melting.
Correct. And in writing, I'm starting to see more and more that my brain tells me quickly, hey, this was written by AI, not by a human. Not because I was using any sort of detector, just because we start to identify patterns, as you said, Sean, ways in which the AI talks, things that it repeats. So I wonder if that's also your experience.
Yeah, it is. I've noticed that. And I also noticed that it uses, you mentioned favorite adjectives. It uses them over and over again. And
It tries to be so pleasing, isn't it? It
Tries to make you happy.
It's almost like a sycophant.
well,
like a
Chat, yeah. ChatGPT in particular, they have trained it for retention. They want you to stay with it. So that's why at the end of every response it says, would you like me to
Do X, Y, Z.
Expand on this
or do it
add
that way? Yeah.
And so to kind of pivot quite a bit, and I also have to add in a personal anecdote here, Jane. So I was having dinner with my parents last week. Told them I was having you on the podcast. Asked me about who you are, what you do, and so my mother has ordered 2 books of yours and is a big fan so far.
Oh, that's nice. Thank
Just
you.
FYI. But in terms of the actual books themselves, you're I'm not saying advocate, but you do incorporate plot twists. And plot twists happen in books, in life, and in business. So in terms of trying to apply how you think of, how you deal with plot twists in your writing and how the characters deal with that, are there any insights or advice you would have for entrepreneurs or our students as they themselves try to navigate their own plot twists?
Yes, I mean, I think it's a really wonderful question. And people love a good plot twist. They love being surprised. And it is especially gratifying when it feels inevitable. The man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
When it's like, well, oh, wow, that explains everything. That final twist. It's very satisfying. You don't want to do that in business because what business needs is predictability. It needs to know that interest rates in the next quarter are going to be X so that they can plan properly. So the question becomes, how do I use the idea of managing change and the unexpected in a way that allows me to help it be predictable? And the answer for that, I believe, is storytelling. There's a wonderful article that was published in Fast Company called Why Companies Need Novelists. And it was a profile of Mohsin Hamid. It was a profile of Mohsin Hamid, who was at the time Wolf Olins, they're a creative consultancy, first chief storytelling officer. What a great title, right? Storytelling officer. And I'm quoting him now. Stories are fundamental to how we think about the world. Nelson Mandela told a story about what post-apartheid Africa could look like. That story was persuasive enough to promote change, and it became reality. JFK told a story about putting a man on the moon, and it inspired people and came to pass. These type of huge events were built on stories. I'll add Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream. That's the beginning of a story. Hamid goes on to explain, beside being good for employee morale and creativity, the exercise of storytelling is a creative way to think about strategy. Often leaders who are trying to create an internal story find that their perfect ending, what they want to convey to their workforce, isn't achievable under current plans. That allows them to start thinking creatively about a strategy that will help them achieve the ideal ending they want to tell.
Fascinating.
That's really good.
Which leads me back to what we were discussing at the very beginning, right? You mentioned that AI is by definition derivative, not creative, right? And you're talking about storytelling. And I wonder, can you envision an AI that could conceivably tell stories, be a storyteller?
You remember HAL, the computer,
Yes.
2001, A Space Odyssey? So, I never say never. I think it's actually kind of scary and gets us to a Big Brother, George Orwell kind of place. There was an engineer who was fired, I believe, from Google a few years ago because he thought he had invented an AI system, a computer that was sentient, that actual had. Donna Andrews, one of my colleagues in the mystery world, wrote a series of books based on a detective who used AI, who used a computer system, and unfortunately fell in love with it. And
There's a movie also that had that plot, Her.
Yeah.
so, yeah, I can imagine it. And at which point, we'll have to re-examine our role in our relationship with the technology.
Right.
But right now, writers don't have to be worried
Right.
because look at its cure to the to be verb.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as we said earlier, you can intuitively tell when something is written by a human versus
Right.
by a machine. So switching gears a little bit, as I was reading your book, which I highly recommend, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It has even inspired me. I don't know if I'll ever write a novel or a fiction book, but who knows? This has definitely intrigued me to
That's wonderful to
explore
hear.
that option.
Thank you.
And I hope many readers get the same. Now, one thing that also catch my attention is how you leverage, in this case, social media to engage with your audience. And you have a series of exercises in the book, and you propose that the readers do their own exercise and publish it on social media. So can you tell us a little bit more how you came about that strategy and how it's working?
Yes, thank you. I'm just really pleased that's wonderful to hear that the book had value, so has value for you. So thank you. The first response is go, meet your readers where they are. And if I want, my experience, most people have important stories to tell. And a lot of those people are good storytellers. They just don't know anything about the craft of writing, which is a whole different animal. So my goal in choosing TikTok in particular, with book talk and author talk, and the hashtag is Beat the Bots Book. And do make sure you let me know so we can amplify your voice in my growing writing community. That is where just a huge number of people who want to write go for information and inspiration. That's one reason. The second is part of what I do in my career as a teacher of writing is try to let people know that we band together. We are a tribe. It is a writing community, and that what I say at the beginning of every of my webinars is, your opinion isn't just heard; it is valued. You're welcome here, and I think that is an important message for something that is essentially a solitary act, writing. I think that in order to do it well, and I'm going to expand this, I would say this is true whether you're a hairdresser trying to build your business or whatever it may be, is know your goal. Are you trying to increase traffic? Are you trying to sell things? What I'm trying to do in my work is build a community, because that community will then buy my workshops, they will buy my books, but I'm not out there hawking a book. I am out there encouraging people to join the community. And I think that's a very different goal, and I think it's terribly important.
And to me, it serves as an invitation, your invitation to me as a reader, to engage not only with you, to engage with the other readers.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you have experimented with this idea in your classroom. You teach here at Lehman College, and I wonder if you have been able to use it.
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that I will.
Okay.
I don't think our students need encouragement to use more social media.
Yeah, I guess
They're plugged in.
the reason I'm asking is because many of our students take classes in person, but many of them also take classes fully online. And the online space can be...
Well, I teach online.
Okay.
That's my primary way of
Okay.
teaching, both asynchronous and synchronous.
Okay.
And what I have done is I do audio lectures on slides for every topic. And
Okay.
the exercises, I mean, my homework assignments are very short because if you can write a sentence, you can write a paragraph.
Yeah.
If you can write a paragraph, you can write a page. If you can write a page, you can write anything.
That's the promo clip, guys.
And therefore, we have to go to the sentence level. So I keep things short, obviously a couple of longer assignments, so that they gain confidence. You know, I use acronyms for everything. SVO, subject, verb, object. That's how you structure sentences. Who's the doer? Get them up front. Active verb, no to-be verbs. And then what's it being done to? It's the basics. And I don't think I need to work with social media to create that kind of engagement.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be social media. I'm just wondering, how could we engage students with each other in the classroom in a more effective way when we're teaching asynchronously? What I was starting to say is that it can be lonely. It can be lonely to take classes fully online asynchronously, right? We have tools like discussion forums and study groups, etc., which we can definitely leverage. But this type of invitation, the one you have experimented with in your book, piqued my curiosity in terms of how much more we can do to be more engaging with those students online.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. I have 2 assignments over the course of the semester that require that students research something that a group mate, I put them in smaller groups, a group mate has said, I'll give you an example, and move the conversation along. It's, again, a life skill I'm teaching people. My niece is a social psychology professor at the University of Texas, Austin, and she has taught me that to build relationships, I hate the word networking. I never use it. I teach my students not to use it. It sounds manipulative. Don't do it. What you want to do is build relationships. And the way you do that is by the second question. Someone says, "Hi, boy, is it kind of muggy out today?" And you say, "Yeah, but I'm already missing summer. What's your favorite season?" And they'll say, "I actually like winter." "Oh, interesting. I hate winter." Now, that's it. No, you got to ask one more question. Why do you like winter? Open-ended. Or what do you do in winter that makes it fun for you? And you find out they're skiers and this and that. And now, later, you'll find an article about a local place that seems to have pretty good powder, which is unusual in this part of the world. And you send them that link saying, I thought this might be of interest. I really enjoyed chatting the other day, that kind of thing. Now you've built a relationship. So to translate that to an asynchronous class, someone has done an introduction, and one of the questions is, what is your favorite hobby or leisure activity? And they are to take whatever that person said and move the conversation along. You have to tell them, do research, because this is all research and writing, and tell them something they don't know. So if they are fans of salsa dancing, what would they not know about salsa dancing? That's hard.
It is.
And but doing it with a deliberately intentionality shows thoughtfulness and caring, and that's how you build relationships.
And that's, I think, very. See, here I am doing it again. No, that is important for our students to be aware of. Crucial. There we go. Because I was thinking back to your points earlier about having to meet your audience where they are, right? And then the importance of building a community, being curious, being engaged with your audience. That strikes me as an awful lot like building a customer base, meeting your customers where they are, being engaged to your marketplace, figuring out how to acquire your customers, and then actually doing the work to find out what your customers need, and then more importantly, what they want.
Yeah.
So all of these tools and tactics are great for writing, and writing is a key part of business. But they're also the exact same things used by pretty much every business and every entrepreneur that has a growing practice out there. So it really is quite interesting to me how in parallel writing and the importance of, to your point, being human, empathetic, and then curious carry over directly into doing well in any business.
Yeah. I agree. Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense to me too.
So I was wondering on plot twists. Critical to a story, to a powerful work of fiction. How would you suggest that students of business or people who are practicing business use plot twist to better engage their audience and their customers?
I think we have to be careful using plot twists in business. There are multiple examples of companies that have tried to pivot too hard, I think, Provost, and have ended up, missing the point.
Yeah.
We have Pepsi Clear. There are all kinds of examples of products and services that had pivoted but really didn't quite hit the mark. Again, going back to, I think, not being engaged with their customers.
Sure.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the idea of using storytelling as a way of controlling the twist and being prepared for the unexpected. I will add that if we're talking plot twists, and you know that excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of water. I'll start that sentence again. You all know that I write murder mysteries. I have observed that no matter who the detective is, whether it's an amateur sleuth, a police detective, a private eye, or someone else, they share a need, a burning need to find the truth. And intrinsic with that, a key element, is curiosity. And that, one of the things they have to be good at is listening. And there's been a lot of research done on the power of listening, including the classic book, The 1 Minute Manager, by Ken Blanchard and Spencer Johnson. 7 million copies sold, 7 million. Their thesis is that asking someone how they're doing or how the work is going or whatever it is you want to know, and then listening to the answer takes a minute. And you gain so much. So that's how I would approach handling twists, telling stories based on information gained. And, you hear a lot about data-driven decision-making. You hear a lot about data-driven decision-making. Now what I'm saying is, yes, data's great, but let's not forget the human element. It always comes back to the people.
Yeah. I did, in a previous life, in a previous career, I worked for the Procter & Gamble company for almost a decade. And as you know, big brand management and marketing company. And the company put a lot of emphasis on the advertising. Actually, it's the biggest or one of the biggest advertisers in the world. And a key element of good advertising is a good story. Those ads that really are memorable and that really communicate
That's right.
what the company or the product or the service wants to communicate, rely on the story. So I could definitely see how what you teach in your book and in your webinars, and by the way, at some point we would love to have the link to your website so that we can refer it to our audience. But I can definitely see how it could have multiple uses and applications in business.
Advertising is a very good example of this. David Ogilvy, who's founder of Ogilvy & Mather, co-founder, and considered the father of advertising. He said, and these are in that same slides that I'll send you on the summary and reflection, and you're welcome to provide a link on the
Great.
on this podcast. He said, writers are relying too much on research. They use it the way a drunk uses a street lamp for support, not illumination. Isn't that brilliant?
It is indeed.
Gets the point across, certainly.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Now, in terms of handling plot twists and pressure, 'cause advertising is a high-pressure business, you have to write characters, create these people who are able to deal with pressure. And in order to do that, you have to imbue them with certain characteristics. How do you go about that process? And what lessons could be taken from there and applied to entrepreneurs who are constantly under pressure?
I think what you're asking is, excuse me, what are the characteristics that help people manage pressure and unexpected events and the stress of being in business, running a business like that? And I think I will call on a lesson that I learned. I worked for 7 years as a volunteer on a suicide prevention crisis hotline. We were trained. It was a certification program. And one of the things we were told is if someone is in an urgent situation and panicking, we are to stop and take 3 seconds. Your instinct is to rush in. Don't. 1, 2, 3. It's a long time to calm yourself, to say, okay, do I have enough information to make a decision? What do I do first to stop the bleeding? And then what do I need to do to manage it going forward? Because that's the 2 steps, right? Deal with the urgent part and then look at what happens next or should happen. And that's learned. I didn't know that. But now it is at this point everyday behavior for me. And that's a very specific tip. Another specific tip I can pass on is to go with your strengths. I think people have a tendency to take their own strengths for granted and keep trying to do things they're not as good at to try to improve themselves. Good, try to improve yourself. But go with your strengths. Yeah. Go with your talents. Go with your skills. You know, you hear all the time, go with your passion and the money will follow. That has not been my experience. My experience is go with your talent and the money will follow.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's interesting because we have been, since grade school, we have always been taught that we should focus on trying to fix our weak points.
Right.
Oh, you're not good at math, say. Also, you have to dedicate extra time to be decent at math. And I don't want to downplay math. I actually enjoyed math very much when I was in high school. But it is at the expense of something else.
Right.
What if that same time you're dedicating to just be proficient on a subject or a discipline, you would invest in building your talent even further, right? You could potentially go to very, very prominent places. So I think your recommendation is right on. Follow your talent, but make sure that you invest in it, that you put the time, that you put the effort, that you really dedicate to building that talent further.
I'm with you.
So we're almost coming to the end of our really fascinating interview. But I imagine from what we have heard so far, you are a very talented woman with many ideas, many projects. What's coming up? What's next in your journey? What are projects that are of interest right now that you're developing?
I refer to it as the project that will not die. I have been writing a thriller for 5 years or more. It's so hard. I mean, all writing is hard, but this is a switch of genre for me. I have always written traditional mysteries. And I decided I wanted to write a thriller. And learning the structure of a thriller is so challenging. I know it intellectually, but translating that into the characters and what they do and how I reveal information, whole different animal. So that's one thing. I have a short story out in the current issue of Alfred Hitchcock Mystery Magazine called The Setup, in which I am introducing a new character. She is a lawyer who got censored. She got set up by her boss in a dicey money deal. And so she has turned to become an insurance investigator. And this introduces her. I like her very much. My agent thinks I will just be much more successful with the thriller. But if I finally just say, you know, you got to know when to fold them, know when to walk away, I may try to develop that as a book. In terms of the teaching, I'm going to be offering a writer retreat. I offer Mystery Mastermind workshops, small group, virtual. And I love them, and I'm up to my 21st cycle now, so they've been going well. And I also have a YouTube. I do shorties, 1 to 3 minute frequently asked question answers about the craft of writing. They come out every Wednesday. And that's all at Jane Cleland YouTube. Excuse me. That's all at Jane Cleland YouTube. And my website is janecleland.com. I'm easy to find.
Fantastic. And we'll make sure to put on the comments and the notes of this episode all those
Links to everything. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. So that's all good, but I think I'm going to offer a retreat, a writing retreat. I've never done one exactly like that, and I think there's a market for it from a business point of view. I think there's a market for it, and I think it would be very interesting to focus on plotting because I'm good at plotting. And so that the promise, because whenever you're selling a new product or service, there has to be a promise to the customer, will be that you come in with whatever ideas you have, and by the end of our time together, you will leave with a plot. Specifically, you want 60 scenes in a novel, right? That's maybe 60 chapters, but sometimes there's more than one scene within a chapter if it's the same people, just different locations. So in any event, scenes. And each one will be on an index card so that if you're doing different timelines, you'll have green. I'm thinking of a specific book, Jonathan Santlifer's The Lost Van Gogh, which is a wonderful mystery. And it tells the story of people who find a Van Gogh in an antiquing upstate New York and decide to trace it. And so it is the story of, set in the 19th century, of how the Van Gogh got lost, and in contemporary times of how it was found. That's beautiful. That symmetry is beautiful. And in structuring it, I have a photo of his desk that he sent me. The 19th century, the 1800 scenes were in green, and the current are in white, so that he could move them around. And I asked him, this is of interest for anyone thinking about a historical novel, that I asked him, how did you know when to put in the green one? And he said, if what next happened in the contemporary setting wouldn't make sense. It's perfect.
It is.
Yeah.
And will this
simple
retreat
but
be?
helpful.
Will this be in person?
This will be in person.
Here in New York?
Probably not. I'm actually thinking Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Interesting.
Central to the country.
Yep.
And, at an elegant hotel, an old kind of world hotel.
Nice.
And 10 people, no more than 10, get together, end with your plot. Sounds
As,
good.
as
like
we
a
were
fascinating
discussing that example with the green card, etc., I was
yeah.
thinking of one of my favorite novels, 100 Years of Solitude by Garcia Marquez.
Yes.
And, keeping track of the family members in that novel, it's a challenge because most of them have the same name, either Aurelianos or Arcadios or Jose Arcadio. So, keeping track of the generations is quite a feat. But this is fascinating. We would definitely like to share when you're ready to offer that in-person retreat, to share more information on it.
Oh, thank you.
And I, listening to you, I started thinking about my colleague right here,
Oh,
Sean.
geez. Cut guys right now. Right now.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but Sean is a professor in our accounting department.
Yes.
And I could definitely see how forensic accounting could be turned into an interesting mystery plot. So
I think
no,
so
no,
too,
you
Provost.
could become.
I've been taking notes this whole time, so just
yes,
FYI.
You know, it's interesting. In one of my books, and I'm not going to remember which one, my series has 14 books and some short stories. I needed a guy, a construction guy who worked for the general contractor. They were taking away, someone was doing an upgrade on a house, and so there were all these beautiful architectural items like glass doorknobs they were taking away. And the guy was stealing. And the lower level guy didn't turn him in. And so I asked an accountant of my acquaintance. I didn't even ask him. It just came up in conversation. We were having dinner. How I can justify that? Like, I need the character for it not to feel contrived that he just stays quiet. He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, people never turn their bosses in. Yeah. Why would they? You don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's like, oh, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fraud triangle. Mm-hmm. I love this sort of thing.
No, but
Planning crimes. Yes.
Well, Jane, it has been a true pleasure.
May I say one more thing?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Because you may want to use this, because I think you asked
course.
one of the best questions, and I wanted to answer it. It's short. Ask me of the leap, which of the four?
Oh, yeah.
yes. Learn, empower, ascend, and progress. That's what LEAP stands for. Okay.
And you kindly asked which of those four resonated most with me. And I want to say that they all resonate with me, but if I had to pick one, I'm picking learning. Be a lifelong learner. Continuous improvement is a business principle where it's a cycle. You never stop trying to hone your skills, save money, make money, find a better way, a shorter process, find ways to manage people more effectively. And when you do that, you are building your own process that will be unique to you, and someday you'll be writing a book on business success. So I hope you leap with great success, and thank you. It has been a great pleasure.
Absolutely. What a great
Absolute
way
pleasure,
to end
Jane.
our episode, right?
Absolutely, Jane.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your time. And we look forward to what comes next.
Thank you so much,
Our
and
pleasure
I'll be
to
in
have
touch sending all that stuff.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome. Anybody want a book?
I
I
certainly
have-
do.
I have,
for
all right,
the,
one there, and I have one out, and you decide who else gets the other one. I see you have one. May
Yes,
I borrow a pen to sign?
Absolutely, and I would be happy to have you sign my copy too.
You got it.
And with that, that's a wrap on episode 3, season 3, Leap into Business. And no, none of this is AI.
Here we go.